Hi everyone, Rachel Jensen here with Luna Realty Belize on the beautiful island of Ambergris Key. We are in the inbox today answering question number 34, and we answer questions that have been submitted by folks like you, whether it comes to Belize real estate, lifestyle, or whatnot. If you are new to the In the Inbox series, go to the playlist, start at number 1 and work your way down. We are on question number 34 here, and we are going to get that answered. So this question was asked by Joe, and he said, I'm not ready to apply for residency in Belize, but I want to stay in Belize for at least a few months. Do I have any options? So that's a really great question. In Belize, there are a few different residencies. I'll put the link to our residency session that we did with an attorney in the description below so that you can listen to that if residency is a consideration for you. However, if you don't meet those residency requirements, but you want to stay in Belize for longer than your visitor stamp allows you to, it is possible. Now, let me just start that by saying it depends where in the world your passport is from about whether or not you need to apply for a visa to come to Belize as a tourist before even coming. Now, most countries, if you're from the United States or Canada, you do not need to do any of that pre-application to come down as a tourist. You'll come to the airport here in Belize City, they'll stamp your passport, and they'll typically give you 30 days. Now, if you want to stay longer than 30 days, you are able to do so. You have to go in person to the immigration office. I put here immigration offices around the country. You will have to go in person, and then you'll pay $100 US, 200 Belize dollars per person for an extension of another 30 days. Now, do note you have to pay in Belize dollars, so equivalent to $200 per person. And sometimes they do allow you to prepay for a few months in advance. So if you want to stay for another 3 months, then at that point you'll pay 600 Belize dollars, 300 US dollars, and they'll stamp your passport for another 3 months. Now, it is very important that when you come into the country, you take note of when that stamp expires. If you go after the stamp, they do have the right to refuse to stamp you again, and you could be kicked out of the country. Sometimes they'll just give you a slap on the wrist, but I have heard times that they have not approved somebody to stay longer because they were late or delinquent on coming to visit. So just make sure that you're taking care of that before the date expires. And also, I do want to note to you that if you are doing another month extension, you leave the country and then come back within the date that's stamped in your passport. So for example, I come to Belize, they give me 30 days. I leave after 2 weeks, but then I come back a week later. So I have 1 week left in that original stamp. Most of the times they will only give you that 1 week that was in your original stamp. Well, sometimes it depends on how long you leave for too, but just be cognizant of that. I know in my initial time here, I did not realize that. I thought that it refreshed every time I left and entered the country, and it does not always. So just make sure that you're paying attention to that stamp and noticing when it does expire. Now, with that being said, we're here in San Pedro. There is an immigration office here in San Pedro in town, so it makes it easy for you to be able to go to the offices. Also, I would recommend to be cognizant of when Belizean holidays are. So the offices will not be open on Belize holidays, and if your stamp expires on that day, I would highly recommend going a day before. They're also not open on the weekends, so you'll want to go the Friday or the Monday, whatever is on that date before your stamp expires. Now, do note that you are not allowed to work in Belize when you're here on a tourist visa. So if you are truly just here to enjoy it, or perhaps you are a digital nomad, you can still do the work from your computer, but you cannot work for a Belize company while you're here on your tourist visa. Very, very important for you to know that and acknowledge that. If you are here for a longer period of time, it's not uncommon for them to ask you where your money's coming from. Sometimes they will ask you for a bank statement so that they can see you have enough funds here to support yourself. So if you are new to living here in Belize, or thinking about living here in Belize, or spending some considerable amount of time here, feel free to reach out for the lifestyle guide. It's an electronic copy that we'll email over to you, info@lunarealtybelize.com, info@lunarealtybelize.com, and we'd be happy to get that over to you. Bye, everyone. Looking forward to seeing you here in Belize.